What's up, E-Rocks the Rural Crew? This is me, Miss E-Rocka, signing in. Just finished my meetings. Um, actually went outside today for work, but I actually went in the actual building this time, which was pretty exhilarating. Um, so, yeah, today I actually thought I would lean into my inner nerd and share some of that with you today. So I think in the beginning when I did my introductory video, I said I would be doing some, technical talks. Um, Not really getting into like the specifics of my actual work, but just kind of like more skills to help you think about skills that you're trying to develop. So like this is a tech talk, TECH techie talk. Um, if you're not really interested in the subject that I'm going to mention and teach on, this is going to be very brutal for you to get through. But hey, if you might find it interesting, stick with it. I might light a fire under you. But today, I thought I would talk about research. Research. So one of my hats I wear, well, I don't wear it right now, but one of my skills is I'm a researcher. I got my master's, I got my undergraduate degree in urban planning, and then got my master's degree in urban planning. And that's when I realized I had a love for research. I always had been curious about research. I used to always admire researchers that worked in the spaces I worked in, and I was always curious about their work. So I was like, one of the things that helped me decide to go back to school was so I could learn how to be a researcher. I didn't know many black researchers. So like I was, I'm gonna be a black researcher. So just to give you a little bit of my street credibility. And I've been able to infuse research in a lot of areas of my work. I've written reports. I haven't been published like any type of journals or scholarly journals or anything like that. Probably should do more of that. Just don't have the time or the bandwidth. But when I research, like one of my favorite disciplines to do research in is urban planning. So urban planning is like an interdisciplinary field. Most of you guys might know urban planning through like public workers like city planners. There's transportation planners. There's housing, community development planning. There's economic planning. There's so many different disciplines. That's why it's an interdisciplinary skill because you get a chance to like function in several different spaces. It's not just city planning. It's not just sitting down at city hall doing zoning ordinance or whatever. I'm actually like a very, from my community of planners that I come from, I'm actually a unique planner. Um, I focus on like, you talk about rural views. You got like pragmatic and advocacy and technocratic, and there's these different, these rural views that we approach thinking from in like the research spaces, and theories come out of these as well. But I focus on advocacy. Like everything that I do is about figuring out how do we empower working people, how do we empower a community, how do we you know activate a community to be able to make change from within. Everything I do is about that. My specialty in undergrad was housing and community development. No, community development. And then my master's, my concentration was actually on housing and community development. So I got a chance to do a lot of work around, you know, understanding neighborhoods, looking at historical districts, understanding the laws and policies that kind of hold those different institutions together. Zoning, did a lot of work around zoning in my studies, but my favorite thing to write about was actually gentrification. I've always been fascinated about how cities change and how, cities evolve and how, I've been very fascinated about how, like, a lot of black inner city communities are like impoverished, under resourced. But then, when certain demographics take interest in those communities, how they could just change and the wealth comes and the people that's there get pushed out. Just thought that was a fascinating process. So I spent a lot of my time looking at gentrification. I actually did my master thesis on Birmingham, where I actually developed a matrix to decide like how can you predict gentrification. So looking at neighborhoods across Birmingham from the 2020 census, I think it was the 2010 census, the 2010 census, and looking at the change and like what indicators can we look for to determine gentrification. And and I put it down when I graduated, and after I put it down, like, I didn't look back at it, but I do use my research principles, and I do research throughout my regular career. Like, I might, you know, decide to launch a survey or data collection, or, I might have to, I don't have to write reports. That's not a part of what I do. At some point, I probably will write a report in this lane, but right now, I don't got time for that. But I could also, like, coach and lead other researchers that are coming into the work because I have that technical exposure to research. So big up to Alabama A&M for training a dope researcher. So I wanted to talk about some research principles. So more about research structure. How do you structure research? So, like, what is research? Research is, collecting data. When people hear collecting data, they think you just got to build a whole bunch of, spreadsheets, and which is mostly true. But, research really begins before that. Research begins when you're asking a simple question, like, why is this like this? Or why is that like that? That's how research starts. And so, in order to answer the why, you have to figure out how to pull the raw factual data together to be able to begin to answer that why. And so, in pulling together the data, it's not always just looking at databases. It's not always just looking at, government websites. It could be you pulling a community of people together and asking them a bunch of questions. That's data collection. It could be you having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, about their experiences, or that they can contribute to what it is you're trying to understand. And it could be an interview. You could go through newspapers and look at periodicals. You could actually immerse yourself into a culture and experience that culture, and then go back and report on it. So you're data collecting, like, those people that watch animals and stuff like that, or, they go and live in the wild, or go and live among tribes, and they're collecting data through their experiences, and those are called ethnographic studies. So, like, you know, but you can also build your own databases. Like, if there's a data set that needs to exist that you can't find nowhere, and you learn that it doesn't exist, you could actually create your own data set through your research. And so, there's a lot of ways that you could approach research, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to have your facts, find your facts. So if you need to answer a question, before you could even begin to answer that question, you need to know the facts. So you get the facts through the data. But then, as a researcher, the next step beyond finding the facts is organizing the facts. How do you organize these numbers, this information, so it can make sense and help me answer my question? And so, that's what the treating the data comes in at. Like, you know, you might see somebody working. That's why it takes 3 and 4 years for a PhD student to graduate. The first year is them just wrapping their head around the thing that they're trying to talk about. The second year is about them thinking about what it is that they need to add to the conversation. Third year is collecting all the data. Fourth year, writing out your report. And then the rest is history, and then you become a good doctor, PhD. I think I'll probably do that one day. So, you know, understanding what the question is the first thing. The second thing is, how do you find the facts to get to an answer for this question? The third thing is, how do you organize your facts to get to the answer? And then, how do you share what you've learned while stating what you understood to come out of that research and that fact finding? So that's pretty much like how I see research. I think next time I do a techie talk, and if it's around research, I'll talk about like organizing research projects, because I am a nerd and I get a kick out of doing that. So yeah, that's just, that's people write about this stuff all the time. But that's just the way, me being a expert in my lane, in my, at my level, like, That's my understanding of where we are when it comes to research. And it goes so much deeper, but we'll talk about it later. I'm not going to bore you anymore. This is a real snooze fest for you guys, wasn't it? But I enjoy coming in to see you guys. I enjoy talking to you guys. Um, oh, yeah, and I wore my hair out today. I never wore my hair out today. Big hair, don't care. Um, and it wasn't so bad. So I think I might start wearing my hair out a lot more because I feel pretty. Anyways, this is Miss Iraka. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Click, like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, don't forget to do that stuff too, okay? It helps me with the algorithm so people can get to see this great content. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Be safe out there. Miss Iraka signing out. Peace.